I'm Maggie O'Donnell, and this is my head-to-toe physical assessment. So, hi, I'm Maggie. I'm a student nurse. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Can you tell me your name and date of birth?
Tim O'Donnell, February 19th, 1961.
Okay, and do you know where we are?
Barrington, Illinois.
Do you know why you're here?
For a physical exam.
Do you know the year?
2020.
Okay, and the month?
April.
So, he's alert and oriented ×4. He's conscious. His speech is intact and good. His color is appropriate to ethnicity. His cognitive function is good. Do you know your height and weight?
I'm 6'2", 230 pounds.
Okay, so his BMI is going to be 30, which is overweight. Next, I would take your vitals. So for the sake, we're going to say that your blood pressure is 125/96. Your pulse is 73, your temperature is 98.6, your O2 stat is 98%, and your respiratory rate is 16. Those are all within normal range, so that is appropriate. First, we're going to test your cranial nerve 2, which is a Snellen chart. So I would place you 20 feet from the chart and ask you to read the lowest line that you can. If you were to see 20/20, that would mean at 20 feet away, you could see what the normal person would see at 20 feet away. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So next, I'm going to inspect your head. So I'm looking at your head. I see that it is normal cephalic, meaning that it is appropriate size to the rest of your body. I'm going to palpate your scalp. I'm feeling for any lumps, bumps, indentations, anything like that. Let me know if you feel any pain. I'm also looking for any lesions or infestations or abrasions or anything of that sort. So I'm just going to look all over the scalp. And I don't see any. Okay. Next, I'm going to be looking at your face. So if you can look up for me. So this is going to be testing cranial number 5, which is the face symmetry. So for cranial nerve 5, I'm looking at the corners of his eyebrows, the corners of his eyes, his nasolabial folds, and the corners of his mouth. So can you smile for me? Can you frown? And then could you squeeze your eyes really tight? Okay, so as he did that, I'm looking at the corners of, like I said, his eyebrows, corner of his eyes, nasolabial folds, and the corners of his mouth. Those are all symmetrical, so his cranial nerve number 5 is intact. Cranial nerve 7 is intact, not 5. And next, I am going to inspect your nose. So looking at your nose in the midline, and I'm going to palpate your nose. Let me know if you feel any tenderness or pain. Do you feel any tenderness or pain?
No.
No? Okay. And I see this in the midline, no discoloration, no abrasions, nothing like that. Then we're going to check for the patency of your nostrils. So can you close one nostril for me and breathe in and out? And the other one? Okay, so both his nostrils are patent, meaning they're open and clear. And I'm going to be looking at your septum, which is in the midline, so it is not deviated. Okay, next I am going to be looking at his mouth. And I'm looking that his lips are pink and moist. Can you open your mouth for me, but don't stick your tongue out? Okay, so I'm looking at his buccal mucosa, which is the sides of his mouth, and I see that those are pink and shiny. And then I'm also I'm moist, and I looked at the top of his tongue, which is pink and rough. Next, I'm going to be looking at his hard and soft palate, so if you can open your mouth. Looking at his hard and soft palate, his uvula, which is in the midline, the floor of his mouth, where cancers like to start to grow, and the bottom of his tongue, the bottom. And I see that the no abrasions on the floor of his mouth. The bottom of his tongue is moist and pink and veiny, which is normal. The dorsal part of his tongue is rough and pink, which is also normal. Could you say ah for me? Okay, so when he does it, I see that his small palate and his uvula rise. They're in the midline. That's cranial nerve 9 and 10. That's normal. Could you stick your tongue out for me? That's cranial nerve 12. It's in the midline, which is normal. So cranial nerve 12 is intact. You could close your mouth again for me. Next, I'm going to be looking at your eyes. So for this, I am going to be testing cranial nerves 3, 4, and 6. And I'm going to be testing cranial nerves 3, 4, and 6. It's the extraocular muscles that I'm looking at. So first we're going to do the six 6 positions of gaze. And so can you please look at my pen and follow my pen with just your eyes? Okay, next I'm going to be doing the accommodation test, so if you can follow my pen again. I see that his eyes converge, his pupils constrict. Next we're going to do the pupillary eye reflex. So if you could just, I'm just going to do some pupils. And I see that when I shine the light on his pupils, that his pupils dilate, or they constricted to the light, which is an appropriate response. Next, I would document his eyes as plural, which means pupils are equal, round, responsive to light and accommodation. And then next, I'm going to check his ears. So let me know if he's feeling pain. Now I'm feeling his pinna. I'm noting no piercings. I don't feel any lumps, bumps, abnormalities of his ears. I'm going to be looking at his ear canals for any extra cerumen that might have developed, and I don't see any. Next, we're going to be testing cranial nerve 8 with the whisper test. So I'm going to whisper a phrase to you, and you're going to repeat it, okay? Black shoes.
Black shoes.
White shirt.
White shirt.
Okay, so he was able to repeat those words back to me, so his cranial nerve 8 is intact. Next, I'm going to be looking at your sclera and your conjunctiva, so if you can just look up at me. So your sclera should be white, china white, and then your conjunctiva should be pink and shiny, so just look up. Okay, so I see that your sclera is white, your conjunctiva is pink, shiny, and moist, which is appropriate. Next, I'm going to be performing a couple sensory exercises on you. So I'm going to use a cotton swab, and when you feel it on you, tell me, okay? Say now. So close your eyes.
No, 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 no.
Okay, so he was able to feel every time I touched the cotton swab to him. Next, we're going to do the sharp and dull sensation. So I'm going to either touch you with this end, which is the sharp end, or this end, which is the dull end. And you're going to say sharp or dull for whichever one it is, okay? So.
Dull, sharp, sharp, dull, 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 sharp, 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 dull, dull, dull.
Okay, so he was able to tell each time that I touched him with a sharp or dull edge, so sensory is intact. Next, I'm going to ask you to touch your nose and touch my finger as fast as you can. So touch your nose and then my finger. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay. Next, I'm going to ask you to I'm going to feel your carotid pulses. So I feel that they are +2, the rate and rhythm is normal and within range, so that is appropriate. I'm going to next be listening to his carotid pulses. So for this, I'm going to be listening with the bell of my stethoscope, and I'm just going to ask you to breathe in and out, and once you breathe out, hold it so that I can listen to it, okay? So go ahead, breathe in and out. Again, in and out. Okay, so what I was listening for was any bruise, which is swishing sounds which I did not hear, which is a normal and expected response. Next, I'm going to be looking at his jugular vein. So if you could just lean back about a 30 to 45 degree angle for me and look towards me. And I'm looking here on his neck to see if there's any bulging, which I do not see. It's flat, which is normal. I can see the color of his jugular vein a little bit because he is a more pale individual, but his jugular vein is flat, which is appropriate. A distended one would indicate fluid overload or something of that sort, but his is flat. So next, I'm going to be testing cranial nerve 11. So could you shrug your shoulders for me? And then can you turn your head towards my hand? Okay, so that's cranial nerve 11. He was able to shrug his shoulders with resistance and turn his head with resistance. Next, we're going to be testing the range of motion of your neck. So can you look all the way up for me, and then all the way down? And then can you turn left and right for me? And then bring your ears to your shoulders. Okay, so it looks like you have a little trouble bringing your ears to your shoulders. Have you always had that issue?
I didn't know I had that issue.
Oh, well, you don't really bring it all the way over, but that's okay. And so next I'm going to look at your upper extremities. So could you stick your arms out for me? So I'm going to be feeling his arms with my back of my hands, and I feel that they're warm, and they're not super dry or super moist or anything, which is appropriate. I'm not seeing any edema when I press down on his arms. I'm looking for any abnormalities or lesions, lumps or bumps, and I don't see any of that. I'm next going to be feeling his radial pulses. Okay. Both they're both +2, regular rhythm, regular rate, so it's within normal limits, so that's good. Next I'm going to be looking at his hands. And I'm looking at the nail beds. They're pink and firm, which is appropriate. And then I'm going to be looking at the capillary refill, which was 2 seconds. Then I'm going to be looking at the profile sign, which is less than 160. So I don't see any signs of clubbing or rounded nails or anything of that sort. So that is appropriate. Okay. Next, will you take your shirt off for me? Okay, so I'm going to be listening to his lungs, but first I'm just going to look at his torso, and I'm looking for any discoloration. I'm not seeing that. Consistent color all throughout his torso, proper for ethnicity. I'm also looking for any moles or anything, which I don't see. Have you noticed any new moles lately?
No.
Okay, so if you were, you would use the acronym ABCDEF, and that is for asymmetrical, meaning if you were to cut it in half, you should be able to fold it up and it would be equal. B is borders, so it should be smooth borders all the way around the whole mole. C is color, it should be the same color throughout the entire mole. D is diameter, it should be no bigger than a pencil eraser, 6 centimeters. E is elevation, if it's elevated, and then F is if it's funny or funky looking. So if it's any of those, you should definitely have it looked at. So next I'm going to palpate your chest and just feel for any lumps, bumps, masses. Let me know if you feel any pain, any tenderness. No? Nothing?
No.
Okay. Sorry. So first I'm going to listen to your anterior chest with the diaphragm of my stethoscope. And for this I'm going to be listening in 5 spots. So I need you to take a breath in and out at each spot. For the sake of you not getting dizzy, I'll just say again, meaning when I would want you to take that breath in and out, so just breathe. Go ahead. Again. 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 Okay, so his sounds were equal and bilateral. I didn't hear any crackling, any wheezing, anything of that sort. Did you ever have any issues breathing?
No.
Okay. Next, I'm going to be listening to the sides of his lungs. So I'm going to be starting on the left side of him, which has 2 lobes. So if you could just turn towards the camera for me. Lift your arm up. And I'm going to be listening to 2 lobes, so deep breath in and out. Again. On the other side, on your right side, you have 3 lobes. So I'm going to be listening to 3 spots. So go ahead, lift your arm up. Deep breath in and out. Again. And again. So I heard no crackling, no wheezing, anything like that. Clear and equal. Next, I'm going to be listening posteriorly. So if you could just turn your legs, swing your legs this way so the camera can see you. So I'm going to be listening in 9 spots. And again, deep breath in and out at each spot. And we'll begin. Go ahead. Again. 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 Again, 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 again. Okay, so again, he is, his long as they're clear and equal bilaterally, if you just want to turn this way for me. Next, before we move on, I'm going to be feeling your sinuses. So this is your maxillary sinuses. Let me know if you feel any pain. And this is your frontal sinuses. Do you feel any pain?
No.
Do you just feel pressure?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a normal response. When palpating a sinuses, you should only really feel pressure, no pain. Okay, so next I'm going to be oscillating your heart. So for this, I'm going to be listening twice. I'm going to be listening with the belt and the diaphragm of my stethoscope. And I'm listening in 4 different areas. So here I'm going to be listening to the aortic, the pulmonic, the tricuspid, and the mitral. And then I'm also going to be listening to the apex of the heart. So first we're going to start with the diaphragm. And then again with the bell. And I heard no ticks, any murmurs, any extra sounds or anything like that. I heard the S1 and S2, which is normal. The rhythm and rate was consistent and normal and regular, so that's appropriate. Next, I'm going to be listening to your apex of your heart, which is in the 5th intercostal space down the mid-clavicular line. Okay, so it was regular, consistent. S1, S2 was heard, no murmurs, no ticks, nothing of that sort. Have you ever had an issue with your heart?
No.
Okay, great. You can go ahead and lay back for me. Okay, so I'm going to be inspecting his abdomen first. So I'm just looking at his abdomen at the color, and the color is equal all the way through. Not seeing any discoloration, any lesions. I'm looking at the umbilicus. I don't see any drainage, any leakage, anything coming out like that. Do you ever have any abdominal pains?
No.
Okay. I'm also going to be looking at the symmetry. So for this, I'm going to go to his feet and then look at the symmetry, and I see that it looks symmetrical. So next, I'm going to be osculating his abdomen in all 4 quadrants to listen for bowel sounds. And I don't move until I hear the bowel sound. So his bowels were active in all 4 quadrants, which is normal. Next, I'm going to lightly palpate and then deeply palpate his abdomen. So the light is going to be about 1 centimeter. And I'm feeling for any lumps, bumps, masses. Let me know if you feel any tenderness, any pain. And I'm just going to be feeling all over your abdomen. No pain?
No.
And we're going to go deeper. And I'm feeling for any enlarged organs, any lumps, any bumps, any masses, anything like that. And I'm not feeling any of that. Next, I'm going to be osculating his abdominal aorta and his renal arteries with the bell of my diaphragm. And it's normal not to hear anything. So I'm going to go about 2 inches above his umbilicus to listen. And then on the same level, go over to left and right for the renal arteries. And like I said, I didn't hear anything, but that is a normal response, so that is appropriate. Next, I'm going to be feeling his lower extremities for the temperature. So I'm going to start above his knees, go all the way down to his feet, and they're warm to the touch. So they're not super cold or anything. I'm looking at the hair distribution of his legs, and they are equally distributed. If they weren't, that could mean a circulation issue. Have you ever had any problems with varicose veins?
No.
Okay, so I'm looking at the back of your legs for varicose veins, which I don't see. I'm going to feel your pedal pulses. So I'm just feeling on the top of his foot here, the pedal pulses on both feet. And I feel that they are +2 regular, strong, all the regular rhythm. So that's good. Could you press on my hands with your feet and then pull on my hands? And I'm also looking at your legs for any pretibular edema, which I'm not seeing. So I don't see any edema either one of your legs. They're both equally sized. So that is appropriate. Could you sit back up for me? So before I have you stand up, I'm just going to do one more thing for your upper body first. So can you extend your arms out for me? Could you squeeze my fingers with your hands? Okay, and then can you bend your arms like this with resistance? Go ahead. And then push. Okay, so his arm range of motion is good. His strength is intact, so it's appropriate. Then I'm just going to be palpating his temporomandibular joints. So open your mouth. And then go side to side. Okay, and I don't feel any crepitations. Do you feel any pain or tenderness when I do that? Okay, and I'm also looking at his salivary glands, his parotid glands, and his thyroid. And I'm not seeing any enlargement. Hold on, dude. Hold on, just wait. I'm not seeing any enlargement. Next, I'm going to be feeling your lymph nodes. Now, it's normal not to actually be able to feel the lymph nodes. Those are usually enlarged when you're sick or there's something wrong. So I'm going to feel your preauricular, post-auricular, supracervical, deep cervical chain, post-cervical, occipital, submental, submandibular, jugogastric. And then can you raise your shoulders up like this? I'm going to be feeling in here for your supraclavicular. So I didn't feel anything. They're not enlarged, so that's appropriate. So then I'm going to, and also when I was listening to his lungs, I did hear the bronchial sounds, the bronchial-secular sounds, and then the vesicular sounds as well on the anterior and posterior side. Okay, so next we're going to do a couple more tests. So if you could just stand up for me. So first we're going to start off by doing the Romberg test. So stand with your feet together, eyes closed. Okay, so we'll go ahead and count to 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, and then I'm going to have you take a couple normal steps towards the camera. And then turn around and do heel to toe. Okay, and then can you drag your heels up and down your shins? Okay, on both sides. So it's testing his cerebral function so that it is intact. Next, I'm going to have you turn around. We're going to look at your spine here. So I'm going to palpate your spine, and I'm seeing that it is straight. And let me know if you feel any pain. I'm also looking to see that it's symmetrical with his shoulders, his scapula, his hips, and his gluteal folds. Can you bend over for me? And I'm also seeing the same thing. It's still straight, symmetrical with his shoulders, scapula, hips, and gluteal folds. And then you can stand back up and turn this way. And then I'm looking to see that his thoracic spine is convex, and then his lumbar spine is concave. So it is normal. Why don't you go ahead and sit down for me really quick. Okay, a couple more things, and then we'll be done. So, can you hold your arms out for 10 seconds for me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, go ahead. And then lift each leg up for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next leg up for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So next we're going to do a couple reflexes. So we're going to do the Babinski reflex. So if you can just lift your foot up for me, and here I'm going to drag up his foot, and his toes curl, which is a normal response for adults. And then again, drag up his foot, toes curl. It's a normal response for adults. Next, we're going to do the patellar reflex. So if you can just sit back so your feet are a little bit up off the ground. Okay? And so, okay. So his patellar reflexes are intact. Next, we're going to do the deep tendon. So if you go ahead and make a muscle for me, because this is testing your biceps and triceps. So I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to relax your hand. All right. Okay, so his fingers curled a little bit. Again, flex for me. And then relax. Okay, his fingers curled a little bit, which is a normal response for an adult. And that is my complete head to toe assessment. Thank you.
Great job, nurse.